Welcome back, everyone. This is the part 2 of the training video on how to push OEM agent to a target server. So we have again OEM 13C4. We, in the first video, were able to push OEM to a server with the domain name PTXTRA server domain, which is our sandbox. Now, the next step is to begin to discover all the Oracle objects that are running on the server. We already checked and discovered that the agent is already running. So really, we can start the agent. We can stop the agent. So now we got all these aliases that I have put in the profile, all that information. So we have the agent and we have the command to stop the agent, to start the agent, and to check the status of the agent. Before we proceed, let's check the status of the agent again. Status. Well, let me type out the full command. We just type status OMS, but the full command is actually this: agent home EMCTL enterprise manager control stop agent, start agent, and then status agent. So we want to check the status of the agent. Is the agent running? Okay, there we go. So now, the agent is running, and it last uploaded at this time, and it last got in touch with OMS at this time. Everything is okay. So agent is running. So now let's go to OEM and see what has been discovered on this server. We happen to know there's an Oracle home there. There's a database running FMIS. Some of you have another database, DB01 running. Let's just quickly check that. PS-EF grep Pimon. So it's FMIS that is running. I don't know where that DB01 came from. Let's find out. Do we have that? Cat etc Aura tab. Okay, Aura tab shows there's a second database, DB0. You may or may not have it in your own sandbox. This came from the class exercise when we were learning how to use DBCA to create a database and to delete a database. You didn't actually remove your database, so that's why DB01 is running. Let me check something. Let me be sure that it's not like it's just in your Aura tab. Change directory, Oracle base, Aura data. So we have DB01. Okay, we do have the database DB01. The data files are all there. So you see, we expect the agent to report that there's a database called DB01 running on this box. Some of you may not have it, so, but I am very sure you will have FMIS. All right. Okay, so now let's go to Enterprise Manager. So in Enterprise Manager, there are two ways to promote all Oracle objects. We can manually promote them by going here and saying we want to manually promote them. And when we get there, we are not deploying agent. Agent is already deployed, is running. But we are going to add target manually. So when you select this, it will work with you to say what kind of target. Is it the listener? Is it the home? Is it the database itself? And so on and so forth. But if everything is working fine and the agent is already uploading, then we don't need to do a manual. I prefer for you not to manually add things, so it will reduce the errors. So, but we can go back to setup, add target, and go to auto discovery result. What did the agent find out? Oh, by the way, my name is Billy Efik. I'm a database administrator. I have extensive experience starting from Oracle 9i, 10G, 11G, Oracle 12C, and 18C, and 19C. And I had to play with some OCI cloud technology. I'm Oracle certified. I hold numerous certifications. Just for the purpose of information, let me quickly show one or two of my certifications. Let me see. I think I've got it somewhere. So I do have Oracle Rack certification, Rack and Grid infrastructure. So I'm an Oracle certified expert on Rack, real application cluster, and grid infrastructure. I have certification Oracle 10G OCP, Oracle 11G, 12C, and 19C. I have certification Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Certified Architect, and Oracle Autonomous Database Cloud Specialist. My areas of strength are Rack and Golden Gate and Data Guard also. I've worked also with Oracle e-business suite from 11i to 12, both as a DBA and developer. I like those platforms. Anyway, that's a brief introduction right there again. So now, when we go to auto discovery, we expect that the agent has already reported something. There we go. There we go. Targets on host. So how did we get here? Set up, add, target, auto discovery. So we don't want to manually discover things. We want it to be automatic. So here's what Oracle reports back. It says, I found a listener running on that box. I found an Oracle home. I found another listener. Is a second listener, Sheraton listener. There is a database, DB01. There's a second database, FMIS. So here's how we promote. Now, the fact that it is discovered doesn't mean that OEM will begin to monitor it. So we have to promote it to OEM for it to be monitored. That's very important. All right, there we go. So the first thing I want to do is get these listeners out of the way. I click on the and select it from the side, and then I hold the control button and click on the second listener. So I can actually add two similar things at the same time. So I selected both listeners because I don't want to do them one by one. I click on promote. There's promote right there. And it says, okay, this is the listener. You want to promote? Promote, yes. Promote means OEM should be monitoring them now. So we can stop the listener from OEM. We don't need to be logging into the box, to the SAN server to do that. So listener is now in OEM. Now, the rest of the object, let's promote the Oracle Home. Just a matter of highlighting it and click Promote. We don't need to adjust anything. Go ahead and promote. Now we are left with the two databases. I'm going to promote FMIS. Now, when I click on Promote for FMIS, the database, here's what's going to happen. OEM uses a particular database account to monitor the database. So the database account is DBSNMP. DBSNMP by default is locked in your database. So this is the monitoring account, the username in your database that OEM uses to report on the database. It is locked by default. I'm going to unlock it and give it a password because OEM requires that password. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to log into FMIS. SQL plus /ASYS DBA. Oops, sorry about that. What database is this? Select name from V database. So this is FMIS. Alter user. I can copy that user right here. DBSNMP identified by OEM OEM monitor account. This is a very flimsy password. Account unlock. But it will do for our example. So I take this password and drop it in OEM right here for that particular database. And this credential, is that the SysDBA? No, it's a normal credential. Now, your databases can be grouped into groups: production, dev, UAT, and so on and so forth. And now I can go to the next screen, or if there's anything unique, because there are some default values that have been captured by OEM concerning this database. For instance, the default listener is always running at port 1521. So OEM tends to want to use port 1521. But if that's not your case, that can be changed. Let's go here, specify, or we can configure. Configure, or we can test the connection. So you see that by default, it puts 1521. We can change that. Anything here can be changed. We can test the connection. We can test connection. Yes, successful. And now we can say, save all that information, and let's go to the next screen. So for this exercise, I'm only going to promote FMIS. You can take your time and promote DB01. And of course, you'll be pushing the agent to PT Advanced also. So now everything is looking good. Save. So the database FMIS has been promoted. So OEM is now fully set up to monitor both the server and the database FMIS. Let's go straight to targets. Let's go take a look at the databases that OEM is aware of. So if you have 1,000 databases, they will all be listed. Look at that. FMIS is here now. PTCDB is the repository database, and the repository database doesn't have to be monitored by OEM. You still have to add it, just like I've added FMIS. If you don't promote it, it will not be monitored. So now it's a pluggable database, and so now it tells us that it has two databases, PDB. This is the PDB that is used as the repository. The other one, which I have not talked much about, is what we call Allman Repository Catalog. Allman Catalog, sorry. Allman Catalog, Recovery Catalog. So there's our Allman Catalog. We could talk about that in another class. So this is the database FMIS. So I'm going to just click on that. It's still loading. It's still getting all the things in place. But I'm going to click on it. Let's take a look at that database. It's coming up. Speed is not crucial to us at this point. Okay, so now we logged into that database. That database has been up for 2 days. That's the name of the database over there. Availability 100%. These are your long-running queries in that database. And now we can monitor the database from using Enterprise Manager without logging into the server. We can even see the content of your alert log and so many other things. So we have a database right here monitoring all the metrics, diagnostics, controls. We can start up, shut down the database. Blackout means we don't want any reporting for this database, just in case we are patching or something. And so we can clone this database using OEM. We can take a look at the logs, all kinds of logs. We can look at anything that is not in compliance. Performance, this is my favorite. I go to Performance Home, and now I can see how that database is doing in details. On the command line, you would have had to run all kinds of queries to be able to accomplish some of the things that OEM can give to you right out of now. Requires for you to have two kinds of credentials. Just because something has been promoted to OEM doesn't give you the right to be accessing the database. So OEM sometimes, periodically, depending on what you're doing, may ask you for database credential, one, or OEM may ask you for host credential, which is the Unix credential. So two kinds of credential. Say you wanted to do a backup, which will affect, this backup will be backed up to disk. Of course, OEM wants to know, do you have OS credential? So you'll be asked that. And we want to access this database using OEM. OEM is saying, do you have the right to do so? So we are going to provide either the sysdba username password or some username password that you were given. Let me quickly create I could put a sysdba password there, but let me just create a user on this database. So because buyer is the one of the student, buyer is the one who owns this database, I'm just going to create a user buyer. Create user buyer. Identified by. I'm going to put a simple password there. Account unlock. The table space will be default. The temp table space will be default. Everything will be default. This should do it. We're going to grant unlimited table space to buyer. Grant connect and then resource to buyer. I even don't think I need to do all this. I just need to grant him DBA. He's the DBA. Grant DBA to buyer. I want to believe the DBA credential contains all that. All right. So now, so there's a DBA called buyer. And so when he goes to Enterprise Manager from now on, he doesn't even need to log in as a sysadmin. He can log in as himself. Buyer and then password and then normal. And you can save it so that next time you can just log in. Make sure you are not saving it on a public computer, because that's like a security loophole right there. There we go. So now you will be asked that credential once. Every other place we'll go to on this database, you will not be asked that credential. So we can see the performance hub for your database. And it doesn't matter where on earth this database is. We can see the top queries, instance lock, and things like that. Availability, backup and recovery. Manage current backups. Now, managing current backups means you're going to be able to access the disk. So sometimes OEM will ask for the host credential. He wants me to save the current credential. I'm going to call it buyer. He wants to be able to reuse it as a named credential, saved and continue. Oops, what did I just do? Underscore right there. So now, notice something, that if I'm going to access anything that has to do with disk, like backups, I need to provide credentials. So if I wanted to take a backup now or validate the database or cross-check the database, it will ask me for it. But here are all my backups. So let's run something, cross-check all these backups, select all, cross-check backup. Yes. So this is the command line that you would have thrown into RMAN. OEM is integrated with RMAN 100%. Well, we didn't provide that credential because buyer already provided it. Look at it right there. It's a named credential, so it went ahead and used it. Otherwise, it would have asked us to provide it. All right, so done. So everything that you do in the command line in RMAN can be done here. So we have administration, users, we can create users across all 1,000 databases or a particular database. Here are all your objects, tables, sequences, database link, directory objects. Here are your procedures, function packages, materialized views. This is your data pump. Data pump and then SQL loader right here. So you can do all that. Security, creating users, roles, profiles, and all kinds. And so on and so forth. Storage, table spaces, data files. So I can take a look at, I can migrate from file system to ASM. I can schedule jobs to run. Let's go, and then these are my initial, the content of your SP file. Let's take a look at the table spaces here. So you see, I don't have to log into that server anymore. Everything can be managed from here. Well, most DBAs are products of their environment. Some of the old school DBAs, they like their command line, and but OEM can do a whole lot. Well, do you have any question? So now we can manage that entire database FMIS using Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. And I'm just going to pause there for today. You will have your task cut out to push OEM agent to PT Advanced server, as well as any other server you wanted to, and then effectively discover the objects that are running on those servers. That's it. Again, my name is Billy Efik, and we do Oracle training and mentoring from you have never heard of it to a very advanced level like the level you are looking at right now. We even do data guard, real application cluster, and several other advanced things to make you acquire very good skills for the and for very good paying jobs. The entry pay for an Oracle job as of today, September 2022, is still about 100,000 per annum. And you can make 120, 130,000 per annum dollars coming out of class. Visit us at PishonTech. This is our website right here, Pishon Technology. PishonTechnology.com. We are officially located in Atlanta, Georgia, but you can reach us wherever you are in the world by going to contact us, and our email address is info@PishonTechnologies.com. Thank you.